Technological University. B. Semester V. New Examination Winter 2021. Subject Code 315071. Date 15/12/2021. Subject Name Cyber Security. Time 02:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. Total marks 70. Instructions. Attempt all questions. Make suitable assumptions wherever necessary. Figures to the right indicate full marks. Simple and non-programmable scientific calculators are allowed. Q.1 A. Explain vulnerability scanning. 03. Answer. Vulnerability scanning is the process of identifying and assessing vulnerabilities on a computer or network. It is typically performed using specialized software that can scan a system or network to identify potential vulnerabilities, such as outdated software, misconfigured system settings, or missing security patches. The main goal of vulnerability scanning is to identify vulnerabilities that could be exploited by attackers to gain unauthorized access to a system or network. By regularly scanning for vulnerabilities, an organization can identify and address potential security weaknesses before they are exploited. This helps to improve the overall security posture of the system or network and can reduce the risk of data breaches or other security incidents. There are different types of vulnerability scans, including network scans, web application scans, and mobile application scans. Network scans are used to identify vulnerabilities in a network's infrastructure, such as routers, switches, and firewalls. Web application scans are used to identify vulnerabilities in web applications, such as those used for e-commerce or online banking. Mobile application scans are used to identify vulnerabilities in mobile apps, such as those available for download in app stores. Vulnerability scans can be performed by an organization's IT staff or by a third-party service provider. Some organizations also use automated tools that can perform regular, ongoing scans to identify new vulnerabilities as they arise. B. Define the term in briefly. 04. Open port identification. 2. Banner check. Answer. Open port identification. Open port identification refers to the process of identifying which network ports on a system or device are open and available for incoming traffic. A port is a communication endpoint used by network devices to send and receive data. Each port has a specific number, known as the port number, that is used to identify the type of traffic that is transmitted over the port. Open ports are a potential security risk because they can allow unauthorized access to a system or network. For this reason, it is important to identify open ports and ensure that they are secured and configured correctly. This can be done using a variety of tools, such as port scanners or network mapping tools. Banner check. A banner check is a security testing technique used to gather information about a system or network. It involves sending a request to a network service, such as a web server or FTP server, and analyzing the response that is received. The response, known as a banner, typically includes information about the service and the version of the software that is running on the server. Banner checks can be used to identify the types of services that are running on a system or network, as well as the versions of the software that are being used. This information can be useful for security testing, as it can help identify potential vulnerabilities that may be present in outdated or unpatched software. C. Describe network sniffers and injection tool. Explain any two injection tools in brief. 07. Answer. A network sniffer is a type of software or hardware tool that captures and analyzes network traffic. Network sniffers can be used to monitor and analyze traffic on a local area network, LAN, wide area network, WAN, or over the Internet. They are often used for a variety of purposes, including network troubleshooting, security testing, and data analysis. Network sniffers work by intercepting and logging network traffic as it passes through a network interface, such as a network card or wireless adapter. They can capture both incoming and outgoing traffic and display it in a variety of formats, such as raw packet data or decoded data that is easier for humans to read. Some network sniffers also have built-in analysis and visualization tools that can help identify patterns or anomalies in the captured data.
An injection tool is a type of software or hardware tool that is used to inject data or code into a system or network. Injection tools can be used for a variety of purposes, including security testing, data manipulation, and network monitoring. Here are 2 examples of injection tools. 1. SQL injection tool. An SQL injection tool is a type of injection tool that is used to inject malicious SQL code into a database. This can be done through a web application that communicates with the database, or through direct access to the database server. SQL injection attacks can be used to gain unauthorized access to sensitive data, modify or delete data, or execute arbitrary code on the database server. 2. Network packet injection tool. A network packet injection tool is a type of injection tool that is used to inject custom packets into a network. This can be done for a variety of purposes, such as testing network security, simulating network traffic, or bypassing network filters. Network packet injection tools are often used by security professionals to test the resilience of networks and identify vulnerabilities. Q2A. Define network address translation. O3. Answer. Network address translation (NAT) is a networking technique that is used to allow devices on a private network to communicate with the Internet. NAT works by translating the IP addresses and port numbers of devices on the private network into a different IP address and port number that is used on the public Internet. This allows multiple devices on the private network to share a single public IP address, which can be useful for conserving IP addresses and improving security. There are several types of NAT, including static NAT, dynamic NAT, and NAT overload, also known as PAT or port address translation. Static NAT involves mapping a specific private IP address to a specific public IP address, which allows the device to be reached from the Internet using the same IP address each time. Dynamic NAT involves mapping a private IP address to a public IP address from a pool of available addresses, which allows devices to reach the Internet but does not allow incoming connections from the Internet. NAT overload involves multiplexing multiple private IP addresses onto a single public IP address using different port numbers, which allows multiple devices to share a single public IP address and reach the Internet, but does not allow incoming connections from the Internet. NAT is often used in home networks, corporate networks, and other types of private networks to allow devices to connect to the Internet while still maintaining a level of security and privacy. It is also used in some virtual private network (VPN) implementations to allow multiple devices to share a single VPN connection. B. What is probe? Explain its different types. O4. Answer. A probe is a tool or technique that is used to gather information about a system or network. Probes can be used for a variety of purposes, including network mapping, security testing, and data analysis. There are several types of probes, including network probes. Network probes are tools or techniques that are used to gather information about a network, such as the devices that are connected to the network, the types of traffic that are transmitted over the network, and the bandwidth usage on the network. Network probes can be used to identify patterns or anomalies in network traffic, or to troubleshoot network problems. System probes. System probes are tools or techniques that are used to gather information about a specific system, such as a computer or server. System probes can be used to identify the hardware and software components of the system, as well as the system's performance and resource usage. Security probes. Security probes are tools or techniques that are used to gather information about the security of a system or network. Security probes can be used to identify vulnerabilities or weaknesses in a system's security posture, or to test the effectiveness of security controls. Environmental probes. Environmental probes are tools or techniques that are used to gather information about the physical environment in which a system or network is located. Environmental probes can be used to measure temperature, humidity, and other physical variables that can affect the performance and reliability of a system or network. C. Differentiate between packet filter and firewall. 7. Answer. A packet filter is a type of network security system that monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic and allows or blocks traffic based on predetermined rules. Packet filters operate at the network layer, layer 3, of the OSI model and can be configured to allow or block traffic based on a variety of criteria, such as IP address, port number, and protocol. Packet filters are often used to implement network security policies, such as blocking access to certain websites or restricting access to certain services. A firewall is a type of network security system that monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic and allows or blocks traffic based on predetermined rules. Firewalls operate at the application layer, layer 7, of the OSI model and can be configured to allow or block traffic based on a variety of criteria, such as IP address, port number, and protocol. In addition to packet filtering, firewalls can also include other security features, such as intrusion prevention, application inspection, and network address translation (NAT). There are several key differences between packet filters and firewalls. Layer of operation. Packet filters operate at the network layer, layer 3, while firewalls operate at the application layer, layer 7. This means that packet filters can only examine the header information of a packet, while firewalls can examine the entire packet, including the payload. Functionality. Packet filters are typically used to implement basic network security policies, such as blocking access to certain websites or restricting access to certain services. Firewalls, on the other hand, can provide a more comprehensive set of security features, such as intrusion prevention, application inspection, and NAT. Complexity. Packet filters are generally simpler and easier to configure than firewalls, as they only need to examine the header information of a packet. Firewalls, on the other hand, need to examine the entire packet, which can make them more complex and harder to configure. OR. C. Differentiate between stateless and stateful firewalls. 7. Answer. Stateless firewalls and stateful firewalls are two types of network security systems that are used to monitor incoming and outgoing network traffic and allow or block traffic based on predetermined rules. The main difference between the two is the way they handle network connections and track the state of the traffic they are monitoring. Stateless firewalls do not maintain a record of the state of network connections. Only examine the header information of each packet, rather than the entire packet. Make decisions about whether to allow or block traffic based on the header information of each packet. Are generally simpler and easier to configure than stateful firewalls. Stateful firewalls maintain a record of the state of network connections. Examine the entire packet, including the header information and the payload. Make decisions about whether to allow or block traffic based on the state of the connection and the content of the packet. Are generally more complex and harder to configure than stateless firewalls. In general, stateful firewalls provide a higher level of security than stateless firewalls, as they are able to examine the entire packet and track the state of network connections. However, they may also be more resource intensive and may have a higher overhead than stateless firewalls. Q. 3a. Define SNOT. 3. Answer. SNOT is an open-source network intrusion detection and prevention system (IDS) that is used to monitor network traffic for signs of malicious activity. SNOT was developed by Martin Roche in 1998 and is now maintained by Cisco. It is widely used by security professionals and organizations to detect and prevent network attacks, such as malware infections, denial of service DOS attacks, and unauthorized access to sensitive data. SNOT works by analyzing network traffic and comparing it to a set of rules or signatures that are designed to identify known malicious activity. When SNOT detects a match to one of its rules, it can take a variety of actions, such as logging the event, alerting the administrator, or blocking the traffic. SNOT can operate in a number of different modes, including sniffer mode, packet logger mode, and network intrusion detection mode. In addition to its core IDs, its functionality, SNOT also includes a number of additional features, such as support for various network protocols and packet types, real-time alerting, and integration with other security tools. SNOT is highly configurable and can be customized to meet the specific needs of an organization. It is also regularly updated with new rules and signatures to detect emerging threats. B. What are the different usages of network sniffers? List out it. 4. Answer. Network sniffers are tools or techniques that are used to capture and analyze network traffic. They can be used for a variety of purposes, including network troubleshooting. Network sniffers can be used to identify problems with network performance, such as slow response times, dropped packets, or connectivity issues. They can also be used to identify the cause of problems, such as misconfigured network devices or faulty hardware. Security testing. Network sniffers can be used to identify security vulnerabilities in a network or to test the effectiveness of security controls. They can be used to detect malware infections, unauthorized access to sensitive data, or other types of malicious activity. Data analysis. Network sniffers can be used to analyze network traffic patterns and identify trends or anomalies. This can be useful for understanding how a network is being used, identifying potential bottlenecks or performance issues, or improving network efficiency. Traffic monitoring. Network sniffers can be used to monitor network traffic in real time or to capture and analyze traffic for later analysis. This can be useful for understanding how a network is being used, identifying potential security threats, or optimizing network performance. Education and training. Network sniffers can be used as educational tools to help students and professionals learn about network protocols, packet structure, and network security. Network forensics. Network sniffers can be used to capture and analyze network traffic for forensic purposes, such as reconstructing a data breach or investigating a cybercrime. C. List out various application inspection tools. Explain any two. 7. Answer. Application inspection tools are software or hardware tools that are used to examine the contents of network traffic at the application layer, layer 7 of the OSI model. Application inspection tools are often used as part of a firewall or other network security system to identify and block malicious traffic or to enforce security policies. Here are a few examples of application inspection tools. Web Application Firewalls WAFs. Web Application Firewalls WAFs are application inspection tools that are designed to protect web applications from security threats, such as SQL injection attacks, cross-site scripting, XSS attacks, and application vulnerabilities. WAFs operate at the application layer and can be configured to block or allow traffic based on a set of rules or signatures that are designed to identify malicious activity. Intrusion Prevention Systems IPSs. Intrusion Prevention Systems IPSs are application inspection tools that are designed to detect and prevent network attacks in real time. IPSs operate at the application layer and can be configured to block or allow traffic based on a set of rules or signatures that are designed to identify malicious activity. IPSs can also be configured to take other actions, such as logging the event or alerting the administrator. Application Layer Gateways ALGs. Application Layer Gateways ALGs are application inspection tools that are used to monitor and control traffic between a network and specific applications. ALGs operate at the application layer and can be used to block or allow traffic based on a set of rules or signatures that are designed to identify malicious activity. ALGs are often used to enforce security policies or to optimize network performance. OR Q3A. How do you protect wireless network? O3. Answer. There are several steps that can be taken to protect a wireless network. Use strong encryption. Use strong encryption protocols, such as WPA2 or WPA3, to secure the wireless network. This will help to prevent unauthorized access to the network and protect the data transmitted over the network. Use a strong password. Use a strong, unique password for the wireless network to help prevent unauthorized access. Avoid using common words or phrases, and use a mix of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. Enable network isolation. Enable network isolation to prevent devices on the wireless network from communicating with each other. This can help to prevent the spread of malware or other malicious activity within the network. Use a firewall. Use a firewall to block unauthorized access to the network and protect against external threats. Enable access control. Use access control measures, such as MAC address filtering, to limit the devices that can connect to the wireless network. Update software and firmware. Regularly update the software and firmware on the wireless router and other network devices to ensure that they have the latest security patches and features. Use a virtual private network (VPN). Use a VPN to secure the data transmitted over the wireless network, especially when connecting to public Wi-Fi hotspots. Use wireless security best practices. Follow wireless security best practices, such as disabling the wireless network when it is not in use, placing the wireless router in a secure location, and turning off the broadcast of the wireless network's name (SSID). B. What do you mean by password cracking and brute force tools? Explain any one in brief. O4. Answer. Password cracking is the process of attempting to guess or recover passwords from a system or database. Password cracking can be done manually, using techniques such as dictionary attacks or social engineering, or it can be done automatically using specialized software tools. Brute force tools are a type of password cracking tool that uses automated methods to try a large number of password combinations in order to guess a password. Brute force tools work by generating and trying a large number of password combinations, starting with the most common passwords and moving on to more complex combinations. Brute force attacks can be time-consuming and resource-intensive, but they can be effective in cracking simple or weak passwords. One example of a brute force tool is John the Ripper. John the Ripper is an open-source password cracking tool that is commonly used to crack password hashes. It can be used to crack a variety of password types, including Unix passwords, Windows passwords, and password hashes for other systems. John the Ripper uses a variety of cracking methods, including dictionary attacks, brute force attacks, and rainbow table attacks. It can also be used to perform password cracking on multiple systems in parallel, which can help to speed up the cracking process. See, what are the different kinds of web vulnerabilities tools available? Explain any two in brief. O7. Answer. Web vulnerabilities tools are software or hardware tools that are used to identify vulnerabilities in web applications or web servers. These tools can be used by security professionals to test the security of a web application or to identify potential vulnerabilities that may be exploited by attackers. Here are a few examples of web vulnerabilities tools. Web application scanners. Web application scanners are tools that are used to scan web applications for vulnerabilities. These tools typically work by sending a series of requests to the web application and analyzing the responses to identify potential vulnerabilities. Web application scanners can be configured to look for a variety of vulnerabilities, such as SQL injection vulnerabilities, cross-site scripting, XSS vulnerabilities, and application vulnerabilities. Web vulnerability scanners. Web vulnerability scanners are tools that are used to scan web servers for vulnerabilities. These tools typically work by sending a series of requests to the web server and analyzing the responses to identify potential vulnerabilities. Web vulnerability scanners can be configured to look for a variety of vulnerabilities, such as server misconfiguration vulnerabilities, application vulnerabilities, and operating system vulnerabilities. Web penetration testing tools. Web penetration testing tools are tools that are used to test the security of a web application or web server by simulating an attack. These tools can be used to identify vulnerabilities and test the effectiveness of security controls. Web penetration testing tools can be configured to perform a variety of tasks, such as trying to guess passwords, injecting malicious code, or exploiting vulnerabilities. Q. 4a. Define denial of service. O3. Answer. A denial of service DOS attack is a type of cyber attack in which an attacker attempts to make a network resource or service unavailable to its intended users. DOS attacks can be directed at a variety of targets, including websites, servers, network devices, and online services. DOS attacks work by flooding the target with a large amount of traffic or requests, which can overwhelm the target's resources and prevent it from functioning properly. As a result, the target may become slow or unresponsive, or it may become completely unavailable to users. DOS attacks can be launched from a single device or from a network of compromised devices, known as a botnet. DOS attacks can also be launched using a variety of techniques, such as SYN flood attacks, UDP flood attacks, and HTTP flood attacks. DOS attacks are a significant threat to businesses and organizations, as they can disrupt operations, damage reputation, and result in financial losses. To protect against DOS attacks, organizations can implement measures such as firewalls, intrusion prevention systems (IPSs), and rate limiting. B. Justify the attack vector. List out different types of attack vector. O4. Answer. An attack vector is a method or means by which an attacker can gain access to a system or network and launch an attack. Attack vectors can be physical or digital, and they can involve exploiting vulnerabilities in software, hardware, or processes. Attack vectors are important to understand because they help to identify the potential risks and vulnerabilities that an organization or system may face. By understanding the different types of attack vectors that are possible, organizations can take steps to protect against them and reduce their risk of being attacked. Here are a few examples of different types of attack vectors. Network-based attack vectors. Network-based attack vectors involve exploiting vulnerabilities in a system or network in order to gain access or launch an attack. Examples include SYN flood attacks, SQL injection attacks, and cross-site scripting (XSS) attacks. Physical attack vectors. Physical attack vectors involve exploiting physical access to a system or network in order to gain access or launch an attack. Examples include tampering with hardware, using a physical key or log bypass, or accessing a system through an unsecured port or interface. Social engineering attack vectors. Social engineering attack vectors involve using psychological manipulation or trickery to persuade an individual to reveal sensitive information or take actions that may compromise the security of a system or network. Examples include phishing attacks, pretexting, and baiting. Software-based attack vectors. Software-based attack vectors involve exploiting vulnerabilities in software in order to gain access or launch an attack. Examples include buffer overflow attacks, zero-day exploits, and malware infections. See what is firewall and illustrate its different types. O7. Answer. A firewall is a network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined security rules. A firewall can be hardware-based, software-based, or a combination of both. Firewalls are used to protect against unauthorized access to a network or to specific resources within a network. They can be configured to allow or block traffic based on a variety of criteria, such as IP address, port number, and protocol. In addition to basic packet filtering, firewalls can also include other security features, such as intrusion prevention, application inspection, and network address translation (NAT). There are several different types of firewalls, including network firewalls. Network firewalls are hardware or software devices that are installed on a network to protect against unauthorized access. They operate at the network layer, layer 3, of the OSI model and can be configured to allow or block traffic based on a set of rules or policies. Host-based firewalls. Host-based firewalls are software programs that are installed on individual computers or servers to protect against unauthorized access. They operate at the application layer, layer 7, of the OSI model and can be configured to allow or block traffic based on a set of rules or policies. Application-level firewalls. Application-level firewalls, also known as application firewalls or application proxies, are software programs that are designed to protect a specific application or service. They operate at the application layer, layer 7, of the OSI model and can be configured to allow or block traffic based on a set of rules or policies. Stateful firewalls. Stateful firewalls are firewalls that maintain a record of the state of network connections and can make decisions about whether to allow or block traffic based on the state of the connection and the content of the packet. Stateful firewalls are generally more complex and harder to configure than stateless firewalls, but they provide a higher level of security as they are able to examine the entire packet and track the state of network connections. Wireless firewalls. Wireless firewalls are firewalls that are designed to protect wireless networks from unauthorized access. They can be hardware-based or software-based and can be configured to allow or block traffic based on a set of rules or policies. Cloud firewalls. Cloud firewalls are firewalls that are delivered as a service and are hosted in the cloud. They can be used to protect cloud-based systems and networks from unauthorized access and can be configured to allow or block traffic based on a set of rules or policies. ORQ 4A. Illustrate the aim and objective of Indian IT ACT 2000. O3. Answer. The Indian IT Act 2000, also known as the Information Technology Act, is a legislation that was enacted to provide legal recognition to electronic transactions and to regulate cybercrimes in India. The Act has been amended several times, most recently in 2019. The main aim of the Indian IT Act 2000 is to provide a legal framework for the use of electronic communication and digital signatures, and to facilitate the growth of electronic commerce in India. It also aims to provide a legal mechanism for the prevention and investigation of cybercrimes, and to ensure the security and integrity of electronic records. The objectives of the Indian IT Act 2000 include to provide legal recognition to electronic records and digital signatures, to establish a legal framework for the regulation of electronic commerce, to provide a mechanism for the prevention and investigation of cybercrimes, to ensure the security and integrity of electronic records, to provide a mechanism for the resolution of disputes arising from electronic transactions, to promote the use of electronic communication and digital technologies in the delivery of government services, to facilitate the use of electronic communication and digital technologies in business and commerce, to provide for the establishment of a certifying authority to issue digital signatures, to provide for the establishment of a cyber appellate tribunal to hear appeals related to cybercrimes and disputes arising from electronic transactions. B. List out different types of traditional problems associated with computer crime. O4. Answer. There are several traditional problems associated with computer crime, including lack of awareness. Many people are unaware of the risks associated with computer crime and may not take adequate precautions to protect themselves or their systems. Lack of education. Many people do not have the knowledge or skills needed to identify and prevent computer crime. Technical complexity. Computer crime often involves complex technical concepts that may be difficult for non-experts to understand. Difficulties in tracking and prosecuting offenders. It can be difficult to identify and prosecute individuals who commit computer crimes, particularly if they are operating from different locations or using anonymous networks. Limited resources. Law enforcement agencies may have limited resources and may not be able to devote sufficient resources to investigating and prosecuting computer crimes. International jurisdiction. Computer crimes may involve individuals or organizations operating in different countries, which can make it difficult to apply local laws and regulations. Evolving nature of computer crime. The methods and techniques used by computer criminals are constantly evolving, which can make it difficult to keep up with new threats and vulnerabilities. See what is incident response. Explain it process flow with appropriate diagram. O7. Answer. Incident response is the process of identifying, responding to, and managing the aftermath of a security breach or cyber attack. The incident response process involves a series of steps that are designed to minimize the impact of the incident, restore normal operations as quickly as possible, and prevent future incidents from occurring. Here is a simplified version of the incident response process flow. Preparation. Before an incident occurs, it is important to have an incident response plan in place. This includes identifying the key stakeholders and roles, establishing communication channels, and establishing procedures for responding to different types of incidents. Detection and analysis. When an incident is detected, it is important to quickly gather as much information as possible about the nature of the incident and its impact. This may involve analyzing log files, monitoring network traffic, or reviewing system configurations. Containment. The next step is to contain the incident and prevent it from spreading. This may involve isolating affected systems, disconnecting them from the network, or taking other measures to prevent the incident from spreading. Eradication. Once the incident has been contained, the next step is to remove the cause of the incident. This may involve cleaning up malware, repairing or replacing affected systems, or implementing patches or other security measures. Recovery. The final step is to restore normal operations and repair any damage caused by the incident. This may involve restoring data or systems, reconfiguring networks or systems, or testing the integrity of the system. Lessons learned. After the incident has been resolved, it is important to review the incident response process and identify any areas for improvement. This may involve updating the incident response plan, providing additional training to staff, or implementing new security controls. Q. 5a. Define the term, Trojan horse spyware 03. Answer. A Trojan horse is a type of malware that is disguised as legitimate software. Trojans are often used to gain access to a computer or network by tricking the user into installing the malware. Once installed, a Trojan can perform a variety of malicious activities, such as stealing sensitive data, installing other types of malware, or granting unauthorized access to the infected system. Spyware is a type of malware that is designed to collect information about an individual or organization without their knowledge or consent. Spyware can be used to track an individual's online activity, steal sensitive data, or monitor the user's behavior. Spyware can be installed through a variety of means, such as through email attachments, malicious websites, or through the installation of other types of malware. Spyware can be difficult to detect and remove, as it is often designed to operate in the background and may not display any visible symptoms. B. What is destruction of data? List out the different reasons for it. 4. Answer. Destruction of data refers to the deliberate or accidental destruction of data or information stored on a computer or other digital device. There are several reasons why data may be destroyed, including malware infection. Malware, such as viruses or ransomware, can destroy data by corrupting or deleting files. Hardware failure. Hardware failure, such as a hard drive crash or power surge, can cause data to be lost or destroyed. Human error. Data can be accidentally destroyed by human error, such as through the accidental deletion of files or the formatting of a hard drive. Physical damage. Data can be destroyed by physical damage to the device on which it is stored, such as through water damage, fire, or physical impact. Security measures. Data can be destroyed as part of security measures, such as through the destruction of old or sensitive documents or the wiping of a device before it is disposed of. Data decay. Over time, data can become corrupted or lost due to the degradation of storage media, such as magnetic tape or floppy disks. Intentional destruction. Data can be intentionally destroyed by an individual or organization as part of an effort to cover up wrongdoing or to protect sensitive information. See what are the cybercrime scenarios and explain its applicability for legal sections. 07. Answer. Cybercrime scenarios are examples of how cybercrimes can occur and how they may be prosecuted under the law. Some common cybercrime scenarios include hacking. Hacking is the unauthorized access or manipulation of a computer or network. Hacking can be prosecuted under various legal sections, such as Section 43 and Section 66 of the Indian IT Act 2000. Phishing. Phishing is the use of fake websites or emails to trick individuals into revealing sensitive information, such as passwords or financial information. Phishing can be prosecuted under various legal sections, such as Section 43 and Section 66 of the Indian IT Act 2000. Malware. Malware is software that is designed to damage or disrupt a computer or network. Malware can be prosecuted under various legal sections, such as Section 43 and Section 66 of the Indian IT Act 2000. Denial of service DOS attacks. DOS attacks are attacks that are designed to make a network or website unavailable to its intended users. DOS attacks can be prosecuted under various legal sections, such as Section 43 and Section 66 of the Indian IT Act 2000. Identity theft. Identity theft is the unauthorized use of an individual's personal information for fraudulent purposes. Identity theft can be prosecuted under various legal sections, such as Section 43 and Section 66 of the Indian IT Act 2000. Intellectual property crimes. Intellectual property crimes involve the unauthorized use or distribution of copyrighted or trademark material. Intellectual property crimes can be prosecuted under various legal sections, such as Section 43 and Section 66 of the Indian IT Act 2000. OR. Q. 5a. What is keyloggers? Explain different types of keyloggers. O3. Answer. A keylogger is a type of software or hardware that is used to record keystrokes on a computer or other device. Keyloggers are often used by cybercriminals to capture sensitive information, such as passwords or financial data, or by employers to monitor the computer usage of employees. There are several types of keyloggers, including software keyloggers. Software keyloggers are programs that are installed on a computer and run in the background, recording every keystroke made by the user. Software keyloggers can be difficult to detect and may not be visible in the task manager or system tray. Hardware keyloggers. Hardware keyloggers are physical devices that are attached to the keyboard or placed between the keyboard and the computer. Hardware keyloggers are often small and may not be easily noticeable. Rootkit keyloggers. Rootkit keyloggers are keyloggers that are installed at the kernel level of the operating system and are difficult to detect and remove. Rootkit keyloggers are often used by advanced attackers and are a serious threat to the security of a system. Web-based keyloggers. Web-based keyloggers are keyloggers that are delivered through a web browser and are used to capture keystrokes made on web-based forms or applications. Web-based keyloggers are often used in phishing attacks. Screen capture keyloggers. Screen capture keyloggers are keyloggers that capture screenshots of the user's desktop or active window. Screen capture keyloggers are often used to capture sensitive information that is displayed on the screen, such as passwords or financial data. B. Differentiate between computer viruses and worms. 4. Answer. Computer viruses and worms are both types of malware that can cause damage to computers and networks. However, there are some key differences between the two. Method of transmission. Viruses are usually transmitted through infected files or attachments that are opened by the user, while worms are self-replicating and can spread without any action taken by the user. Mode of operation. Viruses typically attach themselves to a host file or program and are activated when the host is opened or executed, while worms are self-contained and can operate independently of any host. Purpose. Viruses are often designed to cause damage or disruption to a system, while worms are typically designed to replicate and spread to other systems. Impact. Viruses can have a wide range of impacts, depending on the specific type and strain of the virus, while worms are generally more focused on replicating and spreading, and may have a lesser impact on the performance of an infected system. Detection and removal. Both viruses and worms can be difficult to detect and remove, but viruses may be easier to detect and remove because they are typically attached to a host file or program. Worms, on the other hand, are self-contained and may be more difficult to detect and remove. C. Define the cybercrime in your own word. Explain the different type of classification of cybercrime. Answer. Cybercrime is any crime that involves the use of a computer or the internet to commit an offense. Cybercrimes can range from simple crimes, such as unauthorized access to a computer system, to more complex crimes, such as cyber espionage or identity theft. Cybercrimes can be classified into several categories, including crimes against individuals. These crimes are typically targeted at individuals and may involve activities such as cyberbullying, identity theft, or online stalking. Crimes against property. These crimes involve the unauthorized access or destruction of computer systems or data. Crimes against organizations. These crimes are typically targeted at businesses or other organizations and may involve activities such as cyber espionage, data theft, or denial of service attacks. Crimes against society. These crimes involve activities that threaten the security or stability of society, such as cyberterrorism or the distribution of illegal or harmful content online. Crimes against the state. These crimes involve activities that are directed against the state or government, such as cyber espionage or the unauthorized access to government systems. All the best for same ends. 1.